The Araxian High Council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Skatar entered. His normally bright scales had turned dull gray, a sign that he was very upset. The 7 council members leaned forward in their floating chairs. They could tell something important was happening. Honorable members of the High Council, Skatar began, his voice shaking a little. I bring news that will change our place in space forever. We have found a new species in Sector 9. They call themselves humans. Elder Vix, the oldest council member, waved a tentacle in the air. Just another simple species that found faster than light travel. Why should the Galactic Hegemony care? We have met 217 species in our 10,000 cycles of space travel. Skatar's scales flashed red briefly. With respect, Elder, these humans are different. They found FTL travel just 60 years after they split the atom. No species has ever advanced so quickly. That cannot be true, said Counselor Myra. No species makes technology so fast. It took us Araxians 800 years to go from nuclear power to FTL. Even so, Skatar continued, their ship, called U.S. Frontier, entered our space 3 days ago. Captain Frank Lawson has asked to meet with us. How many ships do they have? Asked Elder Vix. Just one. In this sector, Skatar answered. But our spies say they have built colonies on 17 worlds in their home system. They are growing faster than any model can predict. The council room filled with worried whispers. There is more, Skatar said, making the room quiet again. They come from a death world. Gravity 1.3 times our normal, air pressure nearly twice the galaxy average, with very hot and very cold weather. Their bodies have grown strong in conditions that would kill most thinking life forms we know. A heavy silence filled the chamber. Get ready to meet them, Elder Vix finally said. We must learn more about these humans. Outside the council chambers, Junior Observer Ben watched the star maps. He had been tracking the human ship since it entered Araxian space. The ship was small compared to Araxian vessels, but its power readings were off the charts. Have you ever seen anything like it? Asked his coworker, Analyst Kira. Never, Ben replied, zooming in on the human ship. Look at their engine design. It's so simple, yet it gives off twice the power of our best drives. The council is afraid, Kira whispered, checking to make sure no one was listening. I heard Elder Vix talking about the Colvax protocol. Ben's scales paled. That's only for major threats. Surely these humans aren't that dangerous. They don't know yet, Kira said. That's why Ambassador Skatar is leading the contact team personally. The council wants to find out if humans will be friends or something else. Ben studied the ship on his screen. The humans had sent simple greeting messages in 17 different galactic languages, showing they had already studied many cultures from afar. They learned fast, very fast. The universe just got more interesting, Ben said, watching as the human ship adjusted its orbit perfectly to match the Araxian station. For better or worse, nothing will be the same after today. In 3 hours, the first meeting between humans and Araxians would begin. The day the humans arrived would be remembered across the galaxy for generations to come. Samantha Kelly fixed her uniform one last time before entering the meeting room on the U.S. frontier. As the ship's language expert, she had spent the last 3 weeks figuring out the Araxian language from messages they had picked up. Now, she would help humans meet aliens for the first time. Relax, Captain Frank Lawson said as she and the other officers sat down. His face showed he was tired, but his eyes were still sharp. In 30 minutes, we make history. The Araxians have said yes to meeting us at their space station. Science Officer Adam Wright showed a floating image. The Araxians are like water animals with a complex social order. They are part of something called the Galactic Hegemony, a loose group of about 200 species. And how do they feel about newcomers? Asked Security Chief Lisa Morgan, her hand resting on her gun. They are careful, Adam said. From what we can tell, they group species by how advanced they are. Most species take thousands of years to reach where we are now. Captain Lawson nodded. So they probably think we are less advanced than we are. We can use that to our advantage. Humanity needs friends, not enemies, as we move into space. Sir, Samantha said, there's something else you should know. The Araxians come from a low-gravity world. They are not as strong as we are. What's normal for us might look like super strength to them. Interesting. Captain Lawson thought for a moment. Kelly, you will be our main speaker. Morgan, regular guns only, no power suits. We want to look friendly, not scary. Right, bring all your sensors. I want to learn everything we can about their technology. As the team got ready to board the shuttle, Samantha felt excited and nervous. Humans were about to step onto the galactic stage, and everything, their words, actions, even their physical abilities, would be watched by beings who had been traveling in space while humans were still learning to farm. Remember, Captain Lawson said as the shuttle bay doors opened, we stand for all of humanity. Let's make a good first impression. The shuttle trip to the Araxian station was short. Through the windows, Samantha could see the alien structure. It was beautiful, with curves and patterns that seemed to flow like water. Very different from the practical, straight lines of human ships. Their station design shows their thinking, Adam said quietly. They value beauty and nature, not just function. Good to know, Captain Lawson replied. Look for these cultural clues during our meeting. Understanding their values will help us make friends. The shuttle docked with a soft bump. The team checked their translators one last time. Remember, Samantha told everyone, the translation isn't perfect. Speak slowly and clearly. Avoid jokes and figures of speech. They won't translate well. The airlock doors cycled open. Captain Lawson took a deep breath and stepped forward. Samantha followed, along with Lisa and Adam. They had practiced this moment many times, but nothing could prepare them for the real thing. In the doorway stood Ambassador Skatar. His scales shimmered with blue and green colors. Behind him were 6 Araxian guards, their scales a uniform gray. Welcome to Araxian space, the ambassador said, his words coming through the translators with only a slight delay. This meeting marks a historic day for both our peoples. Thank you for your welcome, Captain Lawson replied. The people of Earth are honored to meet the Araxian people and learn about the galactic hegemony. As they walked into the station, Samantha noticed the Araxians moving with effort. The station's gravity had been increased to make humans comfortable, but it made things harder for the Araxians. They were making a sacrifice for human comfort. It was a good sign. The first step toward friendship between worlds had been taken. Ambassador Skatar watched through the window as the human shuttle docked with the Araxian station. His helper, Angspur, looked at data on a clear screen. Is the gravity fixed? Skatar asked. Yes, Ambassador, Angspur said. We've made the meeting room 0.8 Earth normal, as you asked. But our soldiers are not comfortable. We have no choice, Skatar said. We must see these humans in a place more like their home. The airlock opened, and 4 humans walked through. Skatar noticed right away how easily they moved in the higher gravity. While his guards stood uncomfortably, the humans moved smoothly. Ambassador Skatar, the lead human said, with a small bow. I am Captain Frank Lawson of the United Earth Alliance ship Frontier. Thank you for this historic meeting. Skatar made the traditional greeting with his upper arms. Captain Lawson, the galactic hegemony welcomes you. Please, tell me who is with you. As they talked, Skatar could not help but notice the physical differences. The humans were small compared to many space-traveling species, but they moved with strength. Their skin, on faces and hands, looked weak, yet they stood with confidence. During the tour of the station, something unexpected happened. A support beam, weak from the higher gravity, suddenly broke above the group. Before the Araxian guards could act, the security chief, Morgan, they called her, pushed 2 Araxian scientists away and caught the falling beam with one arm. She held it steady while others moved to safety, then carefully put it down. The beam would need at least 3 Araxian soldiers to lift. Later, in his private room, Skatar watched the security video with Elder Vix, who had come to the station secretly to see the humans. "Their strength is worrying," Elder Vix said. "And did you see how quickly they moved? Their brains must work much faster than ours." "Yes," Skatar agreed. "But more worrying is what one of their scientists said during normal talk. This ship, this frontier, it's not their best ship. It's just an explorer, one of dozens they sent out in all directions from their home. How many worlds did you say they've settled?" 17 in 60 of their years, Elder. And they show no signs of slowing down. Elder Vix's scales turned deep purple as he thought. Maybe we should change how we deal with new species. These humans, they may need special care. The next day, Captain Lawson and his team joined Skatar in the main science lab. The Araxian scientists showed their biotechnology, plants that could grow into tools and machines. "Amazing," said Science Officer Wright, looking at a plant that made its own light. "On Earth, we have only started to explore this kind of science." "Perhaps we can learn from each other," Skatar said. "Your mechanical technology is very advanced for such a young species." Samantha Kelly noticed his careful words. "You seem surprised by our progress, Ambassador. Is it unusual?" Skatar's scales flashed briefly. "In our experience, most species take 5 times longer to reach space. Your rapid growth is unique. Humans adapt quickly," Captain Lawson said. "It's how we survived on Earth. Our world has many dangers, storms, earthquakes, extreme weather. We had to learn fast or die." Elder Vix, who had joined them openly today, studied the humans carefully. "A harsh world creates strong people, but strength without wisdom can be dangerous. That's why we're here," Lawson said firmly. "To learn, to share wisdom, and to find friends among the stars." Skatar and Vix exchanged looks. These humans were different from any species they had met before. The question now was whether that difference would bring new strength to the galaxy, or new dangers. 2 weeks after the first meeting, Dr. Alan Cooper found himself in the Araxian plant lab. As the Frontier's plant expert, he had been given special permission to study the Araxians' plant-based technologies. "This is amazing," he said to his Araxian partner, scientist Yulvex. "You've made plants that can turn raw minerals into useful materials." "Yes," Yulvex said, her scales glowing with pride. "This plant can pull platinum from soil with 92% success. But surely your people have similar things." Alan shook his head. "We have only just started exploring this kind of work. Our methods tend to be more machine-based than plant-based." Their talk was stopped by a loud alarm. The lab doors closed automatically as red warning lights flashed. "What's happening?" Alan asked, trying to stay calm. Yulvex's scales had turned white. "Break in the next lab." They were working with a sickness, a virus that affects nerve systems. Alan thought quickly. "How dangerous is it to humans?" "Unknown," Yulvex admitted. "It was made to target Jexin bodies, a species from Sector 4, but cross-species sickness is always possible." Through the lab window, Alan could see people in the hallway falling down. Both Araxians and the few humans who had been touring that section were on the ground. "We need to help them," Alan said, already moving toward the emergency box. "Impossible," Yulvex said. "Rules say we must stay here until a special team arrives from the Araxian home world, at least 12 hours from now." Alan looked at her in shock. "People are dying out there. Your people and mine. The needs of the many." "No," Alan cut her off. He used his communicator. "Cooper to Frontier. Medical emergency on the Araxian station. Virus release. Need emergency medical team and containment equipment. And get me Captain Lawson." Within 20 minutes, a shuttle had docked with the station. Captain Lawson had sent an emergency team despite Araxian objections. Dr. Nickel Perry, the Frontier's chief medical officer, led a team in protective suits carrying equipment the Araxians had never seen before. "We developed these portable biocontainment fields during the Lagos sickness outbreak," Dr. Perry explained as her team set up the devices. "They'll create a clean corridor so we can get the sick people out." "Your technology wasn't in your shared database," Ambassador Qatar said, watching in wonder as the human medical team worked with practiced speed. "We share most things, Ambassador," Captain Lawson said, "but not everything. Humanity has faced many biological threats in our history. We've learned to be ready." Within hours, the human medical team had stabilized both the affected humans and Araxians, contained the virus, and developed a first treatment plan. In an emergency meeting of the Araxian High Council, Elder Vix spoke seriously. "These humans acted against our clear containment rules, and in doing so, saved 23 lives, including 15 Araxians," Skatar argued back. "Their medical technology is at least 100 years beyond what we thought." "Because they evolved on a death world," Counselor Myra said. "They've been fighting tiny enemies as deadly as any predator for their entire history." The council fell silent, thinking about what this meant. "We must rethink our position," Elder Vix finally said. "These humans are not just another species to watch and study. They are either potential friends of great value, or the greatest threat that hegemony has ever faced." After the virus event, the humans were treated differently. The Araxians started to show them more of their technology and knowledge. Captain Lawson was invited to meet with more important leaders. "They respect strength," Samantha Kelly told the captain. "By saving their people, we proved our worth. But will they see us as equals or as tools to be used?" Adam Wright wondered. "That's the question we still need to answer." Captain Lawson frowned at the message on his screen. "They want us to what?" Samantha Kelly adjusted her translation device. "It's called the proving, sir. It seems to be a tradition when the hegemony meets a species they find particularly interesting. They're inviting us to join in a series of challenges against representatives from other species in the hegemony." "Sounds like they want to test our abilities," Lisa Morgan said. "Exactly," Adam Wright said. "And based on what we've seen so far, we have big advantages in strength, speed, and endurance because of our home world's higher gravity and harsher environment." Captain Lawson leaned back in his chair. "The diplomatic situation is complex. If we say no, we might look weak or unfriendly. If we say yes, we show more about our abilities than might be wise. There's another way to look at it, sir," Samantha suggested. "This could be a chance to earn respect among multiple species at once. The Araxians have invited representatives from 12 other hegemony members to watch." After careful thought, Captain Lawson agreed to the proving, picking 3 crew members to represent humanity: Lisa Morgan for the fighting challenge, Engineer Peter Williams for the technical challenge, and Dr. Nicole Perry for the environment challenge. The event took place on a specially built asteroid base. Representatives from 13 species gathered to watch as the challenges began. The technical challenge came first. Peter Williams faced a Nyx-Airy engineer, a silicon-based life form with multiple arms. The challenge: repair and improve a broken propulsion system using only provided materials. The Nyx-Airy moved very fast, its 6 arms working on different parts at the same time. Peter, with only 2 hands, seemed at a disadvantage. But he approached the problem differently, quickly finding the system's main flaws rather than fixing individual components. "Impressive," the Araxian judge noted as Peter finished the repair in record time. The human chose efficiency over tradition. The environment challenge tested ability to adapt to extreme conditions. Competitors had to retrieve objects from rooms simulating different planetary environments. Dr. Perry's medical background gave her insight into keeping her body working under stress, allowing her to withstand temperature and pressure changes that caused several competitors to give up. The final challenge, combat, created the most excitement. Lisa Morgan faced a Dreth warrior, a predatory species standing nearly 3 meters tall with natural armor and enhanced strength. The Dreth was a champion among its kind, undefeated in 17 contests. The match began badly for Lisa. The Dreth's longer reach kept her at distance, unable to land good hits. But as the match went on, a pattern emerged. While the Dreth was powerful, it tired quickly in the arena's Earth normal gravity. Lisa, saving her energy, waited for her moment. When the Dreth finally slowed, she closed the distance, using leverage techniques developed on Earth over thousands of years of human combat. The much larger opponent found itself helpless against joint locks and pressure points that worked despite its alien body. When the Dreth surrendered, a shocked silence fell over the watching area. "How?" asked the Dreth representative later. "Our champion has 3 times your size and natural weapons. Human combat techniques evolved over thousands of years," Lisa explained. "We learned long ago that strength alone isn't enough. Technique, timing, and endurance matter more." As the human team returned to the frontier, Captain Lawson received an important message. The Araxian High Council requested a formal alliance meeting, not just with the Araxians, but with representatives from 5 other hegemony species. "It seems we've made an impression," Adam Wright said. "Let's hope it's the right one," Captain Lawson replied. The formal meeting aboard the Araxian diplomatic ship was very fancy. Representatives from 6 hegemony species talked with the human delegation, sharing cultural notes and diplomatic pleasantries. Captain Lawson handled the complex social rules with practiced ease, though he stayed alert to hidden meanings in the conversations. "Your people have shown remarkable abilities, Captain," said Kiveri, the Nyxari ambassador. "Particularly interesting is how quickly you adapt to new situations." "Necessity drives innovation," Lawson replied diplomatically. "Earth's history has given us many challenges." Indeed, Kiveri's crystal body shimmered, their way of nodding thoughtfully. "We understand your planet has what we would consider deadly climate shifts every few months. We call them seasons," Lawson smiled. "They're quite predictable, actually." As the meeting continued, Samantha Kelly came to Captain Lawson with worry on her face. "Sir, my translator picked up something odd in a private talk between the Dreth and Araxian representatives. They mentioned something called the Kolvax Protocol. The translation isn't clear, but it appears to be a containment procedure of some kind." Before Lawson could respond, Ambassador Sktar called for attention. The room quieted as he moved to the center of the gathering. "Honored representatives, today marks a historic moment. For only the 4th time in hegemony history, we propose accelerated integration of a new species." His scales shifted to a ceremonial gold pattern. "The humans of Earth have demonstrated qualities that would strengthen our collective civilization." Sounds of approval rippled through the alien delegates. However, Sktar continued, "Tradition demands full disclosure before such integration. Captain Lawson, there is something we must share with you and your crew, a threat that all hegemony members face." The ambassador activated a holographic display showing a massive dark shape moving against the backdrop of a nebula. "We call them the Void Swarm. They emerge from uncharted space every 300 cycles to consume resources, including sentient life. Their last attack destroyed 11 inhabited systems before the combined hegemony fleet drove them back. According to our calculations, they will return within 60 of your Earth years." Captain Lawson studied the image carefully. "And you believe humanity should join your defensive alliance against this threat?" "Yes." Elder Vix stepped forward. "Your species' adaptability, resilience, and innovative approach to problems would be valuable assets. The hegemony offers technology exchange, territorial recognition, and mutual defense." Later, in a private meeting room aboard the Frontier, Captain Lawson's senior staff debated the proposal. "It could be a trick," Lisa Morgan suggested. "A way to assess our military capabilities or gain access to our technology." "The threat appears genuine," Adam Wright countered. "The energy data they provided matches evidence of massive weapon use in the regions they identified." Samantha Kelly frowned. There's still the matter of the Colvax protocol I overheard. They're not telling us everything. Captain Lawson nodded. I agree. Lieutenant Kelly, focus on learning more about this protocol. Dr. Wright, analyze the Void Swarm data more thoroughly. I want to know what we're potentially facing. He looked around at his team. The hegemony needs us, perhaps more than they're letting on. That gives us leverage, but also responsibility. If this threat is real, Earth needs to be prepared. As the meeting ended, Lawson stayed behind, looking at the images of the Void Swarm. The dark shapes reminded him of ancient sea creatures from Earth's oceans, predators that hunted in groups, surrounding their prey. 60 years, he murmured. Not much time to prepare for a galactic war. But humans had faced extinction-level threats before. Every time, they had adapted, innovated, and survived. This would be no different. Except this time, they weren't alone among the stars. Whether that would prove an advantage or a complication remained to be seen. 3 days after the big meeting, Samantha Kelly asked for an urgent talk with Captain Lawson. Her face was serious as she entered his office. I found out what the Colvax protocol is, sir. It's not good. She turned on her data pad, showing translated Araxian security documents she had gotten by carefully studying their information systems. The protocol was created after the second Void Swarm attack, about 900 years ago. It puts species into 3 groups: allies, assets, and, she paused, expendables. Captain Lawson's face darkened. Let me guess which group they've put us in. Actually, sir, we're currently listed as potential assets. The hegemony judges species based on their usefulness in the coming fight. Allies are full hegemony members with equal standing and protection. Assets are species with specific abilities useful against the swarm. And expendables. Samantha swallowed hard. Worlds marked as expendables are used as distractions. During the last attack, the hegemony deliberately leaked information about resource-rich colonies belonging to several less advanced species. While the swarm attacked those worlds, hegemony forces targeted vulnerable swarm ships. They sacrificed entire civilizations, Lawson said quietly. Yes, sir. 7 species were wiped out completely. The captain stood, walking around the small room. Have they made a judgment of Earth? That's what worries me most, sir. They've marked Earth as a primary resource world because of our planet's biodiversity and mineral wealth. If we refuse alliance or fail to prove our value as assets, we become expendables, Lawson finished. Does anyone else know this? No, sir. I wanted you to decide how to proceed. Captain Lawson called an emergency meeting of his senior staff and Earth's diplomatic team. The revelation of the Colvax protocol created a strategic crisis that needed immediate attention. We have 3 options, Lawson explained to the assembled team. 1. Accept hegemony membership and try to change their ethics from within. 2. Reject their offer and prepare Earth's defenses independently. 3. Present them with a different approach. What kind of different approach could we possibly offer? Asked Ambassador Joan Miller, Earth's diplomatic representative. Dr. Wright cleared his throat. Captain, my analysis of the Void Swarm data suggests they're not simply mindless destroyers. There's evidence of communication, coordination, and selective targeting. They may be a collective intelligence we could potentially communicate with. You want to talk to planet-killing space monsters? Lisa Morgan asked in disbelief. No civilization chooses conflict if a better alternative exists, Dr. Wright countered. The hegemony has only ever approached this as a military problem. What if there's another solution? Captain Lawson considered this. The Araxian High Council expects our answer tomorrow. I need recommendations within 6 hours. The resulting plan was bold, perhaps too bold. When the Frontiers delegation met with the High Council, Captain Lawson presented not an acceptance or rejection, but a counter-proposal. The Void Swarm represents a threat to all life in this sector, he began. But the Colvax protocol, yes, we know about it. is fundamentally flawed. It treats certain lives as expendable, certain civilizations as mere tactical resources. Gasps and whispers rippled through the council chamber. Humanity proposes a different approach. We will join your alliance against the swarm, contribute our technology and tactics. In exchange, the hegemony will abolish the classification system and commit to the defense of all sentient species, regardless of their technological development. Elder Vix's scales flushed dark with anger. You overestimate your position, Captain. Earth is but one world. Earth is humanity's homeworld, Lawson interrupted. But we have established 17 self-sufficient colonies across 9 star systems, each developing in different directions, each with unique capabilities. The council chamber fell silent. For the first time, the Araxians looked truly surprised. 1 year after first contact, the landscape of interstellar politics had changed dramatically. The United Earth Alliance had established formal diplomatic relations with 23 hegemony species. Technology exchanges had sped up human development in bioengineering and energy production, while hegemony species eagerly adopted human innovations in medicine and adaptive systems. Aboard the newly commissioned UEA vessel Pathfinder, Captain Frank Lawson stood in the observation lounge alongside Ambassador Skatar, watching as Earth receded into the distance. The Pathfinder was humanity's first jointly designed starship, incorporating both human ingenuity and Araxian biotechnology. Your people move quickly, Captain, Skatar observed. 6 cooperative research stations, 3 joint defense outposts, and now this vessel, all within the standard revolution of your sun. When faced with big threats, humans tend to set aside differences and focus on solutions, Lawson replied. It's one of our better qualities. The Pathfinder's mission was unprecedented, to lead a mixed-species expedition to the edge of known space, establishing an early warning network for the approaching swarm, while simultaneously attempting to broadcast communication signals based on the human Nixari research. The latest models show a 23% chance of successful communication, Skatar noted. Higher than I expected, but still concerning. Which is why we're not relying solely on communication. Lawson gestured to a tactical display, showing the deployment of defense platforms throughout hegemony space. Hope for peace, prepare for war, another human tradition. On the bridge, a crew made up of humans, Araxians, Nixari, and representatives from 4 other species worked in harmony. Samantha Kelly, now Commander Kelly, had developed a universal translation system that allowed for real-time communication across species barriers. Chief Engineer Williams had redesigned the ship's key systems to accommodate the physiological needs of multiple species. The final negotiations had been tense but productive. The hegemony had agreed to abolish the expendable classification, though they maintained the asset category. All sentient species would receive protection based on the hegemony's capabilities, and a joint human Nixari research team would pursue the communication initiative with the Void Swarm. It wasn't a complete victory, but it was a beginning. There's something I've been meaning to ask you, Lawson said to Skatar. When we first met, you seemed genuinely surprised by humanity's advancement. Why? Skatar's scales rippled in a pattern Lawson now recognized as contemplative. Our predictive models suggested your species would take at least another century to achieve FTL travel. Your development curve is unprecedented and concerning. Initially, yes, Skatar admitted. Any anomaly is cause for caution, but now we understand better. Your planet's harsh conditions created pressure for rapid adaptation. Your species' short lifespans drive urgency in research and development. And your cultural diversity creates multiple paths to solving the same problem. As the Pathfinder prepared for its first jump to faster-than-light speed, Lawson reflected on how much had changed since that first tense meeting with the Araxian High Council. You know, he said to Skatar, back on Earth, there's an old saying, the day everything changes never announces itself in advance. Skatar's scales rippled in amusement. Yet for us, it had a very specific name, the day the humans arrived. The ship's AI announced the countdown to jump. Human and alien stood side by side, representatives of civilizations that evolved light years apart, now united in common purpose. The stars streaked into lines as the Pathfinder leaped into FTL, carrying with it humanity's greatest strengths: adaptability, determination, and the belief that every sentient life had value. Whatever waited beyond known space, whether peaceful contact or desperate battle, they would face it together. The day the humans arrived had marked the beginning of a new approach to existence among the stars, one that offered hope for all sentient beings in the face of the coming darkness.